You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Hope you had a wonderful week. And thanks for listening to the podcast. If you're a big Michael Biehn fan, you never heard of Inside of You, well, I hope you stick around. I think people, tend to stick around if they like an episode, maybe subscribe. Our handles are at Inside of You Podcast on Instagram and Facebook, and at Inside of You Pod on the Twitter. And really appreciate you. We've been doing this for years now, and we get really good conversations with guests, and they open up about mental health, anxiety, life. And I hope you stick around. And it seems like it helps a lot of people. It helps me with my anxiety in my life. And Ryan's here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Still going to therapy?
Still going to therapy.
Good for you, Ryan. Good for you.
Had an appointment this morning.
Yeah. Did it go well?
It did.
It probably, what?
No, I mean, it's kind of like, what happens when you guys do the BetterHelp ad, Tom he usually says like, I don't want to talk in the morning, but then get going and it helps.
It does. That's the thing. It's like you think you don't have anything to talk about. And once you start talking within 10 minutes, boom, floodgates open. And you're like, oh my God, I'm so thankful I did this. You just feel better. I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's groovy. We're going to be doing a lot of cons this year, Tom and I. So if you haven't seen a Smallville Nights or haven't visited us at a con, you got to do that. The Smallville Nights are great events. We read old scenes with fans. It's really private. There's prizes. It's wonderful. Everyone who goes says you have to do this. So hopefully, we're going to be all over the country. I'll be in Wales. I'll be all over. I'll be all over. So you got to come. Also, if you want to go, if you go to talkvillepodcast.com, you can get original artwork signed by me and Tom. These awesome pieces of art. And there's a limited supply. There's only 55 made, and then they're gone, and they're autographed by me and Tom. Go to talkvillepodcast.com if you want some of that merch. The Inside of You online stores there. We got new Smallville, octagonal ship keys signed by me. We also got the regular ones that don't say Smallville. We've got Lexmas scripts and a bunch of cool tumblers, yellow Inside of You tumblers for coffee, mugs, all that stuff. And last but not least, join Patreon and really support the podcast. Without my patrons, I wouldn't do this, period. They really support me and keep this podcast going. So go to patreon.com/insideofyou, and I'll try to message you soon. And there's a bunch of perks, like your name getting shouted out on the podcast, boxes of merch from me with notes, all that jazz. So there you have it. We got a great guest today on the podcast. Yeah. Legend. I have the poster up there. I actually took that poster off. It's an Aliens poster, and I took it apart and had him sign it because he was the only member of the cast from Aliens that hadn't signed it. And Michael Biehn signed it. I feel like we're buddies now. We text each other. I just like how raw and real he is, and just lets it all out there. I mean, you are going to hear him speak from the heart. I mean, he just says, this is how it was. This is who I was. Didn't like this person. Enjoy this. I mean, I've never seen he reminded me a lot like Robert Patrick in the sense that it was like old school, like, hey, this is what you're going to get, fucker. This is what you're going to get. This is me. And here I am. And I put myself out there and let you know that this is my life. And I love that. I really appreciated him. So without further ado, let's just do it, man. Let's get inside of Michael Biehn.
It's my point of view. You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum.
Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum was not recorded in front of a live studio audience.
And I was a kid, and I was just like starting to make a little bit of money, and I went to a blackjack table, took $100 bill, threw it out there, played my hand, busted, and that stick came out and pulled that $100 bill back, and I just said, it's back in the mid 70s. I probably probably could have had a lot of fun with that $100 bills here. $100 in Vegas.
What year was that?
I don't know, 78.
So $100 is probably like $1,000.
Well, it was enough that I know that I could have had a little bit more fun with $100 in Vegas than just watching somebody take it from me. And I've never really gambled since. I gamble with friends. I've got a deal going. You know Doug Stanhope?
Yeah.
Well, Doug and I
great
are good
comedian.
Yeah. Doug and I are best friends. Boyfriend and boyfriend. Our wives like to call us.
Right.
I met him when I went to Bisbee. When I moved to Bisbee.
You saw him do a show, or that's how you met him?
I've been following Doug for probably 20 years.
Right.
And I've always loved him, Louis C.K., Bill Burr, of course,
Oh, yeah.
Ricky Gervais. Those are kind of my guys that I just love. But Stanhope was always my favorite. And so when I moved to Bisbee, I knew he's in Bisbee because he talks about Bisbee in his act. And so I was hoping I get a chance to meet him. And I finally did, and we fell in love. And we're boyfriend and boyfriend now.
Is it because he has such a dark sense of humor? You like that? How his mind works?
Well, yes. But he thinks I'm funny. For some reason, he thinks I'm like hysterical.
Why is that?
I don't know. Do
you think you're funny?
I can be in the right circumstances. It all depends what I'm talking about. I can be funny. I'm not. I'm certainly not a comedian who can be funny. Like this. But if I'm telling stories about my life, people have a tendency to smile every once in a while.
Do people usually, when they hear these stories, are they shocked at some of these things that you've done in your life?
Probably, yeah. My life is it's been a wild ride and a great one. I mean, a great one. And, but it's been wild, right from the time that I moved out here when I was about 19. I'll get you through the early stuff quickly because I've heard your podcast before. I was born in Alabama. They're in Rookerville.
Yeah.
We're talking about
Michael Rooker, your old buddy from Tombstone. I'm trying to get in touch with him because I want you to tell a Rooker story. Because on the podcast, you were listening to it.
Yes.
Rooker says, no, I don't get angry. If I get angry, I get angry like I'm acting angry. And then you started laughing because you were listening to that and you said, that's bullshit. Ask him about, come on.
Well, I don't know about I don't know about other times, but I know.
But he's an intense guy. He's funny, but intense.
Dude, when he was on Tombstone and when he blew up George Cosmatos, and he got in George Cosmatos' face, I don't think that was for effect.
What happened?
George Cosmatos was an idiot. I basically George Cosmatos replaced another director, Kevin Jarre, on that movie.
Right.
And George Cosmatos just was brought in, and nobody really liked him. I've
Is he still alive?
No, he's dead.
Oh.
And this is the truth. I met him. I said 5 words to him the entire time I made that movie, and he was the director he got credited for directing that movie. I met him. I said hello, and he started talking. It was around a couple of other people. I just said hello, and then the next day I watched him directing the way he treated people, and the next time he approached me. He said, Michael, and I said, go fuck yourself. And that was the only 5 words I ever said to George Cosmatos.
Go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself.
Based on just what
but my observations of the way that he treated people on that set. He would say things like, tell the extra with the big tits to take 2 steps forward, and
whoa.
He was a guy that, if you were above him on the food chain, he'd kiss your ass. So he tried to kiss my ass. But if you were below him on the food chain, he'd treat like shit.
What about a guy like Val Kilmer? He treated him with respect.
Oh, of course. Val, Kurt, Sam Elliott, Billy Bob. No, all those people.
Did they like him?
Nobody liked him.
Nobody liked
Well,
him.
he didn't really direct the movie. Nobody directed it. People say, did Kurt Russell direct the movie? And the fact of the matter is, it's a little bit like a football team. Michael, you have a coach that goes down. So the coach is gone.
They like the former coach.
What? Say that again.
The director from before that got fired, or
No, that's a whole nother conversation. I liked him.
right?
I liked him a lot. And I think he's more responsible. He wrote the script, and he's a great writer. He wrote Glory, and he's a great writer, but he was very rigid, and he didn't understand how collaborative filmmaking was.
Especially with all those creative actors.
Well,
around.
I know. He had Kurt Russell, who's been a movie star since he was like 5.
Right.
He had Val, Sam, me, Powers Booth. And I had a great time.
That's intimidating, by the way.
Well, it's not
I
intimidating.
mean, that coming in as a director, you have to kind of have that. Maybe that's what this new director was like. I'll just be a fucking badass and treat people like shit because he was insecure.
Nah, he was just
an asshole.
he was just an asshole. And but that movie came out. They waited 4 weeks into the shooting of that movie to fire Kevin Jarre. So usually if you get a director, there's problems, there's arguments, there's creative differences, a week in or whatever. We had 3 months to shoot that movie, and 4 weeks in, they fired Kevin Jarre, and they used none of the footage that he shot. So there's a lot of Tombstone that got cut out before we even shot it. There was so much with the Cowboys, with me and Powers, that got cut out of the movie. And all the girls, all the women in the movie, all their stuff got cut out, all the wives, the love story, which was, that was a big part of the movie, that got cut down.
How was the
to a
morale
horseback.
on set when this new director just pops up? And are you guys, this movie's not going to go anywhere? This is going to be a piece of shit?
Here's the thing about it, Michael. For me, I can only really concentrate on the character that I'm playing. And I don't have any control over what happens, and I don't really give a fuck about morale. I'm there. I'm going to be good, and that was a really great character. The character was great because there are other characters in the movie, like Val Kilmer. Oh, Johnny Ringo, the fastest gun in the blah blah blah, and Kurt says to him at the end of the movie, what's wrong with Johnny? Oh, he's got a big hole in his heart, and he's sorry he was born. And Powers Booth at one point says something along the lines of, oh, God knows what's going to happen to this group when Johnny Ringo takes over. So I've got all the other actors talking about how crazy I am. So I really don't have to do very much, I don't really have to do very much. But I knew it was a good role. I mean, you read a script and you see a line like, I want your blood and I want your soul and I want them both right now. And, you look at that and you go, wow, I can't wait to say that line.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of stuff that got cut out of the movie. And what the movie ended up being was just a smaller. Have you seen it?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Tombstone. Who hasn't seen Tombstone?
Well,
it's been years, but it's one of the best movies. Come on.
Well, we got started talking about it because of Rooker, and and see, people ask me about Val, and Rooker was one of them. He was Earps. He was one of them. Me, Powers Booth, Stephen Lang, John Corbett, we were the Cowboys. And so we all hung out. People ask me what Val Kilmer's like. I go, I have never met Val Kilmer.
You never met him?
I don't give a fuck about Val Kilmer.
You never met him?
Never met Val Kilmer. I never met Val Kilmer.
Gotcha.
We never let
You were just
guards
talking to his character, character to character.
And we went out, we shot the final scene in the movie, that I'll Be Your Huckleberry, that scene. we went out because by that time George had been fired. We went out and rehearsed that because Jim Jacks, the producer, who's a great guy, just no longer with us, he suggested that we go out and rehearse it. So he got in his car and went out to the location, and I got in my car and went out to the location. And, we got out of the car and there was never, hey, Val, hey, what's up? What'd you do? None of that. It's like, okay. What do
Did
you have?
you want that?
It's just what happens. Michael, that's like I hung out with Powers Booth. I didn't hang. Bill Paxton and I had done, that was a 5th movie we'd done together.
Right.
But, and maybe it was because we were younger, but, it was them against us. And, I got really nothing to say to Bill. I got Kurt, on the other hand, he held that movie together when they fired the director and brought George in. And Kurt's a wonderful guy. He's a great, great personality. He's fun. He's got a great laugh. Obviously a wonderful actor. He's been a movie star since he was 10. You always hear about people talking about actors who, young actors growing up in the business, and they always get all fucked up or whatever. Mm-hmm. Not Kurt. Kurt, Kurt
knew who he was.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, that's not part of my life, but
there's a part of me, like, when I go on set, you want the other person, you want the people to be, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be, but it sounds to me like this movie was just like, don't expect to make friends. Do your fucking part. I'm there to make a movie to be great. And if they don't want to be like that, that's not going to affect my performance.
Well, they don't, I don't, here's the thing about making movies. It's a collaborative thing. And I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to try to undercut anybody. And you heard Robert Patrick talking about some movie he was on where some actor was trying to undercut him. I think we know who he was talking about.
Right.
But, I've never in my life thought like, if I stood over here, maybe I could take something away from this. I've never done that, nor do I ever see anybody do it to me. And if I even think that, somebody does their off camera, so they're not really paying attention, you're not doing their off camera that well, I'm just like, fuck you. I don't need you to do off camera. I'd rather you, if somebody's just kind of out, a lot of times the off camera, I'll just go like, just you move out of the way and I'll do it to air. I'll do it
a piece of tape.
I'll do it to a piece of tape.
I've done that before, which is better performance because they're not giving me anything and I don't want to be distracted by their bullshit.
And with me, with distraction, and you hear people, you're in my eye line. Can everybody move out my eye line? I'm like, fuck you. Get in my eye line. Do jumping jacks behind the shot.
Jesus.
Well,
that's confidence.
I've been doing it for.
You've been doing it a long time.
50 years. 50 fucking years.
50 fucking years.
Close. 48.
Inside of You is brought to you by Home Chef. If you guys are listening, if you know me, I don't cook. I don't cook well. I don't follow directions. And there's a company that just came along that makes it easy for guys or gals or people like us who just can't get it together and need life to be a little easier. It's Home Chef. Because we make thousands of decisions every day. And by the end of the day, the last decision we want to make is what's for dinner. That's where Home Chef comes in. All right. Say goodbye to meal planning, recipe-induced stress, and last-minute grocery store runs, and let Home Chef bring simple, delicious home-cooked meals right to your door. The problem with making your own meals without Home Chef is that you go to the grocery store and then you get, all these ingredients that you think you need, and then you come home and they sit in your refrigerator or freezer and they rot because you get too many ingredients, or you get too few. And then a week later, like, I spent so much money, I didn't even use half this stuff. Not with Home Chef. Home Chef makes your nightly routine easier and more exciting with a wide selection of delicious meals that arrive at your doorstep in the form of fresh, perfectly pre-portioned ingredients and an easy-to-follow recipe card.
With 30 unique and flavorful chef-curated meal options available each week, Home Chef ensures your taste buds will never get bored.
Home Chef will recommend meals based on your selected preferences with plenty of menu options to fit any dietary needs. Looking to master the art of cooking? Check out their classic meal kit options, complete with chef-written step-by-step instructions.
Don't have time to cook? Have a hot, delicious meal on the table in a snap with quick solutions like their 15-minute recipes, microwave meals, and oven-ready options that save you time and effort in the kitchen. Plus, cleanup is a breeze.
Yeah, isn't that important, Ryan?
Yeah, always. Oh my God, that's the worst part of cooking.
And have specific dietary needs. Explore carb and calorie-conscious menu items, customize your proteins, or swap for vegetarian-friendly options. Look, what I love about this thing, this meal service, is it's there for you. It's fresh. Everything's in front of you. It takes no time at all. For a limited time only, go to homechef.com/inside for 75% off your first box. Again, go to homechef.com/inside for 75% off. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. When you're at your best, you can do great things, but sometimes life gets you bogged down and you may feel overwhelmed or like you're not showing up in the way you want to. Working with a therapist can help you get closer to the best version of you. Because when you feel empowered, you're more prepared to take on everything life throws at you. And who couldn't use a few better coping skills to be able to handle all of life's curveballs? Look, if you're thinking of giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is a great option. It's convenient, flexible, affordable, and entirely online. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. BetterHelp can help you be the best you possible. Try it today. If you want to live a more empowered life, therapy can get you there. Visit BetterHelp.com/inside today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/inside. Really quick, I got to hear the Rooker thing.
Well, the Rooker thing was basically, well, there were a couple things when, I was doing my research because I knew I was going to do your podcast. So I figured, and listen to guys kind of my age. So I listened to Robert Patrick and Fichtner and Rooker. And I didn't listen to all of them, all of the show, but I listened to Rooker enough to laugh at a couple of things that you talked to him about. And one of the things he talked to you about was the fact that you said, Michael, do you ever get like just angry? Do you ever get like, just really, really pissed off? And he said, well, sometimes I just act like I'm pissed off, for effect. And I heard that and I just had to laugh because I've known Michael since we did Tombstone, and he directed Jennifer in a play, my beautiful wife Jennifer. Yeah.
Love
who
her.
I've heard about you for years.
Yeah.
Because you used to date Danielle and they used to, that whole thing. And so anyway, he's like, well, sometimes I just act like I'm angry. And you're like, oh, so you're not really, you just act. Yeah, I just act like I'm angry because, I want something done or whatever. And I just laugh because I've seen Michael totally lose his fucking shit. when we were doing Tombstone, next time you have him on, you have to ask him about George Cosmatos. And when he was doing... when he was in George Cosmatos' face, was that just for effect? I'm just wondering if that was for effect or if he was really angry.
Were you like, holy shit, he can hit him?
Nah, you never know with Michael. You never know. He was in a place that, and listen, we've all been there. I've been there before. Mm-hmm. I'm no saint when it comes to, is it Christian Bale who had the rant?
Oh, yeah.
I've had a rant like that. Mine lasts for like usually 5 or 6 seconds.
Right.
They don't last for like a minute and a half or whatever. And I usually think they're valid. But I used to, I want things right. I want things to be right. And it's usually not about another person. It's about the material and the material not being right or moving on when you haven't got what you really need. So
you let it out on James Cameron, didn't you?
No.
Never, not once.
No. It's because Jim, when I first met Jim, I came in, I auditioned for Jim for the Terminator, him and Gail Hurd, and I got the part. And at that time, I was the most experienced player around. I mean, because Arnold hadn't done anything. He'd done Conan, and then Linda hadn't done much. Even Stan Winston, the great special effects guy on that show, he was pretty early in his career. I think Cameron wanted Dick Smith originally, and Dick Smith I'd worked with before. So anyway, I was very, very experienced, and not very experienced, but kind of experienced.
More
I'd
than
done
the
quite
others.
quite a bit of work by that time.
Right.
I was 28. I started working when I was 22, and 21 or 22. And the thing about Jim is what happened. Arnold's option got picked up to go do Conan the Barbarian 2. I'm not sure what the name of the second one is. And so we were ready to go, ready to start shooting. And when that happened, we got pushed. So we had to spend like 4 months waiting for Arnold to finish Conan the Barbarian. By that time, I'd already been cast. By that time, I got to know. And so during that 4-month period of time, I got to know Jim. And Jim and Stan, I spent loads and loads of hours with them and watched them work. And you don't have to be around Jim Cameron very long to understand that you're working with somebody who is very special, is incredibly creative, incredibly smart, and driven like nobody I've ever worked with before. And nobody puts in as many hours. Nobody cares as much. He sets the bar high, Michael. You know, I think that I did 3 movies with him.
Aliens, The Abyss, Terminator 2.
No.
Terminator 1.
Terminator
1.
Yeah. And Aliens and The Abyss.
Right.
And had a little part in T2 that got cut and put back in
We'll
the
get to
director's
that
cut.
because didn't you get paid for that? Well, let's get back. Stay on camera. Inside of You is brought to you by Rocket Money. Listen, you have to do this. I'm telling you have to do this because you're going to save money. You're going to save a lot of money. All of us do this with the subscriptions, Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
We buy subscriptions because we want to see that one series or that one movie, and then we'll cancel it. And what happens? We don't cancel it. And months go by, and we're like, oh, I still have the Survivor streamer.
It's those free trials.
The free
They
trial.
rope you in.
They get you.
They get you.
It's like, no, it's free for 30 days.
Mm.
You're like, oh, and then you forget. It's nothing's free, folks. Most Americans think they spend about $80 a month on subscriptions when the actual total cost is closer to $200 a month. If you don't know exactly how much you're spending every month, you need Rocket Money. Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill, is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. The average person has around 12 paid subscriptions. Think about that for a second. If you think you're only subscribed to a handful of services, you might want to double check. With Rocket Money, you can quickly identify and cancel all of your unwanted subscriptions.
Rocket Money will quickly and easily identify your subscriptions for you, so you can stop paying for the ones you don't want.
Simply find the subscription you don't want and press cancel, and Rocket Money will cancel it for you. No more long hold times for customer service or tedious emailing back and forth. Rocket Money makes canceling subscriptions as easy as a click of a button, and over 3 million people have used Rocket Money, saving an average person up to $720. Stop throwing your money away. Cancel unwanted subscriptions and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/inside. That's rocketmoney.com/inside. rocketmoney.com/inside. This podcast is brought to you by Dove Men Plus Care. Guys, do you get distracted during the day thinking about your underarms sweating or itching or emitting an odor? Ugh. Do those thoughts keep you from showing care when it counts? New and improved Dove Men Plus Care Antiperspirant with 72-hour sweat and odor protection and 1/4 moisturizing cream, helps you forget about your underarms so you can be present for the moments that matter. Don't let underarm insecurities keep you at arm's distance from the ones you care about. Buy new and improved Dove Men Plus Care antiperspirant wherever personal care products are sold. This message is sponsored by Discover. Did you know you could reduce the number of unwanted calls and emails with online privacy protection? The latest innovation from Discover. Discover will help regularly remove your personal info, like your name and address, from 10 popular people search websites that could sell your data. And they'll do it for free. Activate in the Discover app. See terms and learn more at discover.com/online privacy protection.
So, Jim, he sets the bar high. So if you want to come play with Jim Cameron, you better be prepared to do your best. And I think that's all he ever asks from anybody is their best.
Yeah.
I've never heard Jim lose it. Scream.
I know one story.
Oh, well, okay, but is it firsthand?
Oh yeah, and he was right though.
Well, he's always right.
There was a moment. Have I told that story? Tom Arnold told me this story about True Lies. He says he's in the car and Schwarzenegger's really late. And they get in the car and Cameron comes up to him and just says, "You're fucking my day, man. You're fucking my day. You come up here late. God damn it. I don't want to see you fuck." And he goes off on him for about 5 seconds, 10 seconds. Walks away. And Arnold goes, "Buddy, why don't you punch him in the face for that?" He goes, "Because he was right."
Yeah. I don't know where you heard that. I don't know if you heard that story or read it, because I read that story myself. I read that, and that I'm sure happened, and I'm sure that Jim could have lost it. My experience with him is that he's intense. He wants things right, and he wants things done his way. And there was a time, and I've told this story before. I'm not sure. I've told people that have done interviews with me before. He'll say things on a set like to a crew member, "Don't help. Don't help." Meaning just walk away.
Get away.
Yeah.
You don't need to be here.
You're not helping.
Right,
Instead of
right.
saying it, you just say "Don't help."
Yeah.
But there was one time when I was working with him, and during the Terminator, and we're doing something, and we do a take or whatever, and he said, "Michael, that's exactly what I don't want." And the hair on my back of my neck went up a little bit, and by this time I'd spent months with him, and I said, "Well, okay, Jim, here's the deal. Everybody on the set knows that you can do their job better than they can do it, but you can't play Kyle Reese. So give me a fucking line reading and let's move on." And he did, and I did, and that's all there is to it.
Do you remember the line?
"Come with me if you want to." No, I don't. No, I don't remember the particular line.
You know what's funny? You say that is I love it when I'm trying to get something. Goes, no, put the emphasis. I go, "No, just give me the line reading. I don't care. No ego here. What is it? I don't want any of you to come here." Great. Just like that. And that's it. I don't want to go through of what I think you want or trying to just tell me what you want. Sometimes that's easier.
Well, in that case, it was one in which Jim is blunt. I would call him blunt.
Yeah.
He doesn't coddle actors.
Does he say, "Hey, Michael, great job on that take"?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he will.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think that's important.
And most times, as an actor, for me, it. Or you look over to Jim, "You good?" "I'm good."
He looks at you with a smile.
Yeah. No, I haven't seen Jim for probably a year before COVID. But he's been, and even though I haven't seen him in 4 years, Michael, if right now I picked up your phone, and I'm not going to do it, but picked up your phone and said, "I need to speak to Jim Cameron. It's an emergency. I need to speak to Jim
You'd answer.
Cameron." I would hear from him in 10 or 15 minutes. And he's that kind of guy, he's that kind of friend. But he's not the kind of guy that you hang out with. He's not the kind of guy that you go, watch a football game with or go out and have a couple beers.
Stuff like that.
He's a machine. He's a genius for one thing, he's just not the hanging out kind of guy. He's too busy writing, the next Avatar. Right. He's too busy. I got so many stories about, working with him. I'll tell you one, and that is when we were doing Terminator. Last day of Terminator, we wrapped on a Friday night. Those Friday nights go into like whatever. Yeah. I was beat. He's putting in twice as many hours as I am. I'm putting in 12. He's putting in 18 throughout the entire show. I'm beat. I'm totally beat. I get a call on Sunday from Gail Hurd, his future wife, and she said, "Hey, Michael, Jim has got a rough cut of the Tech Noir." Which is the fight between me and Arnold in Tech Noir. If you know the movie, most people know Tech Noir. And he wants to come over and take a look at it. And I was like, oh, fuck, man.
And you had to suck it up?
Yeah, like I'm beat. So I drive over the hill because I live in the valley at the time. I drive over the hill and, I go into his, "Hi, Gail, how are you?" "Good." Jim's in his office. I walk in and Jim is there. And I'm about as far away from you as I was to him. And he's just scribbling away. He's just scribbling and working and scribbling and working. And I was like, I waited for a while and he didn't notice me. And I was like, "Hey, Jim." "Hey, Michael. Hey, how you doing?" "Good. I'm glad you came over." And I said, "Jim, what? I'm beat. And I know you've put in twice as many hours on this movie than I have."
"But what do you
Three
want?"
times. What are you doing? What could possibly be so important at this moment that, I could tell he was intense.
Intense, right?
Yeah, he was writing Aliens. He was working on Aliens. That was the Sunday. We wrapped on a late Friday. Friday goes into Saturday morning.
He was already going.
Yeah. Well, it turns out I've read now that he'd already had like 90 pages of it written, or a treatment of 90 pages, and Fox had already, but Fox had not. I don't think Fox decided to let him direct that until they saw Terminator. But they were paying him to write the script, and he's always like that. He's always like that, Michael. He never stops, and I call him the Terminator of filmmakers. And he's the only filmmaker that I know that's never made a movie that's lost money.
Never.
And
Terminator, Aliens, the Avatar, Titanic,
True Lies, all of it.
Because he cares so much about it, he doesn't let anything slide. That it's always a solid movie.
But there's a lot of people that care about their movies. There are a lot of people that care about their movies, but there's nobody that I know of from a director standpoint that has been as successful as he was. He had just won the Academy Award for Titanic, and Academy Awards all over the place. And I was on the Fox lot, and I got a note, "Hey, Jim, heard you were on the lot. Why don't you come over and say hi?" And so I went over, and "Hey, Jim, how you doing?" And we're talking for a while. And we used to be pretty close, and I was always honest. When you get that successful, ends up getting a lot of people around you who are like, "Oh yeah, good
Whatever
idea,
you
Jim."
say, whatever you want.
Yeah.
You didn't have to do that.
No, and I didn't. I don't think that he would have wanted me to do that. But but anyway, this has nothing to do. So I go over there, and I'm talking to congratulations, all these Academy Awards and all this sort of stuff, and I say, Now what, Jim? Just won Best Picture, Best Director, best this, best that. Now, how do you top that? What are you going to do? I swear to God, this is a true story, the way I remember it. He was sitting at his desk, okay? He opened his desk drawer, and he pulls out two scripts. One is called Alita, Battle Angel, and the other one is called Avatar. And I didn't know what Alita Battle Angel meant. I didn't know what Avatar meant. I didn't even know. They were full scripts too. They weren't treatments. They were scripts. And I looked and I said, Jim, well, cool. Well, which one are you going to do? And he said, I don't know, Michael. I have to wait for the technology to catch up to the, my idea of what these movies should look like. So he waited after Titanic before he started Avatar. I think it was like 10 years. He waited to do Avatar. And he did Avatar first. And then because that became such a huge moneymaker, he gave Alita Battle Angel to Robert Rodriguez, who, by the way, is another brilliant guy to work with. And
did you work with him on Mandalorian?
No, I saw him on Mandalorian. He was prepping the next show. He was prepping the next show. Dave Filoni directed the one that I was in. And no, I did a show called Grindhouse.
Right.
That was him and Quentin Tarantino doing the old
school,
the old thing. So that was an incredible experience because I got to spend every single day with Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino. And Quentin Tarantino is just fab. Both of them. I mean, they're both so highly
worked with the greats, man.
Well, some. I never got to work with. I've met Spielberg. I got a funny story about Spielberg.
Did you audition ever for Spielberg?
I went into him for what's the Harrison Ford? What's the big one that he did? The first,
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, I went in and I was obviously young. I don't know. Oh, there you go.
You reach over figure. And I'm a child. Go ahead.
That's all right. This is a crazy story. It's a true story, and I've got a lot of interesting stories about people that I've met. And I went in. I'm not sure what I had done. Maybe The Fan, which was a movie.
Fan, yeah,
what I did with Lauren Bacall. But I went over. It was a meeting. They just, I had a good agent at the time, and always had Ed L'Amato. And so Ed sent me over to meet Steven Spielberg, and so. At the time.
Do you get nervous?
Michael.
Do you ever get nervous with these kind of guys?
Not when I'm just talking to them. If I'm auditioning for somebody, yeah, of course I get nervous.
Okay.
When I'm on a movie set, first day of work, or if I come in and do an episodic, or if I come in at somebody else's set that's been doing it for 8 years, and I get nervous.
Sure.
Yeah, I still have nerves. But when I go in to meet somebody, I'm just going to be me.
Right,
and there's nothing.
You're right. It's a lot easier than.
I'm not like trying. I'm like, you can either like me or you don't like me. And so I went in. I got a funny story about Paul Schrader too, the director. But I went in to meet him, and he was over at Universal and was on a sound stage, and there was nothing in the stage except for in the middle of it was a kitchen, and a kitchen like the French Chef kitchen, where you would think that they would shoot a cooking. This is way before cooking shows and stuff or whatever.
Right.
So I'm let in, and I'm like, he's over there, and I walk over, and Steven Spielberg is there, and he's got he's got an apron on, he's got flour all over, he's got a hat, he's got flour all over him, and there's a guy there, and he's like making cherry pies. And I'm like, hi, Mr. Spielberg. My name is Michael Biehn. Hey, Michael, how you doing? And we talked for probably 20 minutes. I think that he realized very quickly on I was too young for the role. I think Harrison Ford's got a few years on me. I was too young to play that role, but he was very nice and wonderful. But the entire time I was talking to him, he was making pies, and he was squirting the stuff in there and doing the edges.
That's so weird.
And I said to him, Mr. Spielberg, when I was leaving, I said, I got to ask you. This has been interesting, and thank you so much for seeing me. But what's the whole deal with the pies? Why are you making pies? And he said, Michael, I find the casting process to be a kind of, forget the word he used, but kind of time consuming and a waste of time at the same time. It's like you have to spend a lot of time doing it. So he's basically multitasking. So he said, while I'm doing this movie, I'm learning to cook. And you happen to come in on the day that I'm learning to make cherry pies. So he, at the same time, he's talking to me, which is easy for him to do. He's cooking, and that was back in the day before phones and all that sort of stuff. But he was probably doing something else at the same time.
What's funny is with all the stuff you've done, you've done so many amazing roles. But I remember as a kid, and you're not that much older than me, but watching your performances.
16 years older than
16, so you're an older brother. Whatever. I'm trying to make you feel good. But look, I there's very few actors. There's actors out there that you look at and you go, this is a movie star. This is an old school movie star. This is like the old days. I always looked at you and those performances when you're on screen. To me, it was like it's movie star. The looks, the power, the not having to do too much, and all these movies. And I always wonder, are you just born cool, or were you? No, listen, you got when you were born. I mean, obviously, you got great genes. Like you look at these roles, you're like, oh my God, every girl wants you, every director wants to hire you. You're the action guy. You're the brooding, kind of dark but lovable. All these things. Were you popular in high school? Were you did you get the girls? Don't lie to me, Michael.
I was popular. I wasn't the most popular kid in school. I never thought, nobody ever, women, I've always been very afraid of rejection. So
we all do. Yeah.
Well, but I'm really afraid of rejection. So I didn't put myself out very much. Was I the coolest kid in school? No, absolutely not. Was I the coolest kid in my grade in high school? No, I definitely wasn't. Was I with a group of jocks, about 10 of us that were kind of cool in the jock? We weren't stoners. We weren't Christians. We were the jocks.
Right.
And in that group, I was somewhat popular, but no, I don't know. And here's the thing that what you just mentioned, and that was you talk about a movie star. Okay, I am a way better actor than I am a movie star because they're two complete different. To be a movie star and a great actor, like Tom Hanks or Denzel Washington, or, there are a number of people that are true movie stars. I was never, ever comfortable. I never had a publicist. I was never comfortable on the red carpet. I was never comfortable doing press.
Bit of an introvert.
In that way, I expressed myself. I was into acting. I really cared about my part, and I really wanted to do a good job, and I really cared about that. But when it came to doing articles in magazines and being on the cover of magazines and stuff like that, and you can go back and find me on the cover of Teen Beat magazine or whatever, 50 years ago or whatever, and. Not like I never did it, but I just wasn't that good. And I had a lifestyle that, thank God they didn't have phones. when I was 20 through about 45.
Why? What were you doing?
Oh, I did a lot of drinking. A lot of drinking.
When you say a lot of drinking, was it something that you'd wake up and drink?
Yes.
How much?
At least a fifth a day.
A fifth a day of whiskey?
Yes.
How long?
First, ended up being vodka because people could smell whiskey on my breath. I would go on runs, Michael. If I'm going to go work on a James Cameron movie, I'm not going to be drinking. If I'm going to go work with Michael Bay, I'm not going to be drinking. If I'm going to go work with Billy Friedkin, I'm not going to be drinking. But
what, you just wouldn't drink while you were prepping?
I'd drink while I was prepping, but I would never drink when I was working.
Right.
I would never, but I did drink on jobs, but they were jobs where I didn't really respect the director. I didn't, it was just a paycheck, and I could do my job just as well as anybody else. Nobody ever has to wait on me on a set, and nobody ever had to wait on me on a movie set. We're ready to go. Where's Michael? That never happens. But, I used to get up when I met Jennifer, we were doing a movie together, and I'd get up, and before I was in front of the camera, I'd probably have had 8 ounces of alcohol. Get up and have what I call a double deuce, which was
most people couldn't function 8 ounces starting their day. You get tired. How do you keep the energy? How do you keep the focus?
Alcohol works and works and works for you until it doesn't work. And I was a good friend of, I considered him a good friend. You know George C. Scott? You know George C. Scott?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
Well, George C.
He's just not in the files.
Fucking, yeah. One of the best actors ever.
Yeah. And George C. and I did a movie, a TV movie years and years and years ago. And he offered me a part in he did a television movie, a Robert Halmy television movie where he was Patton 2 or whatever. And he offered me a role in that. Well, we got to be kind of drinking buddies. And I used to watch him on the set that I worked with him on. And he used to have, it was like a quart. It was like a bottle that had like a handle on it, and he would start during the morning and he would drink all day long, and you would never, ever see him stumble, mumble his words, nothing. He just drank.
It was almost like an energy drink.
Well, I don't know.
What is it about alcohol that was like that you felt throughout the day? Was it just relaxed you and kind of you just kept at that pace, at that level?
I just did it because I could at that time in my life. I enjoyed it. I felt when I was drinking, when I was drinking, I felt that was truly who Michael Biehn was. When I wasn't drinking, I think that I had barriers up and insecurities, and I'm a little bit, don't say certain things, and I'm afraid somebody will. And I felt like when I was drinking, that was the true me, because I didn't have any filters.
But was that a lie that you learned later?
I don't know, Michael. I did it for and I started when I was 15. I started when I was 14, 15. I was a wake and bake guy for 30 years. So I was doing that too. And, I was at that age during the 80s when Coke was a big deal.
And you loved Coke.
I didn't love Coke, but I didn't like Coke because one thing, I couldn't get a hard on when I used Coke. So
right.
that
sucks. That's a bad drug right there. Why are you doing that?
Yeah. But I used to use it to continue drinking. It would keep me awake so I could drink more. And I did my share.
What made you stop?
I was killing myself.
Who told you that? Where did you? Is it someone you listened to?
Everybody kind of gave up on me. My Jennifer had given up on me. My mother had given up on me. My agents had given up on me. And I'd been in 4 rehabs. I've been in 4 rehabs, and that whole AA thing never quite worked for me. I don't have that good of an attention span, so I don't even know what the first step is, let alone the third one or the fourth one. And it never worked. I think I didn't stay 30 days in 2 of them or 3 of them. The last one, I think I did 30 days, and I was doing it because other people told me I should do it. But it got to a point where I was
rock bottom.
In my mind, I was rock bottom. My money was running out. People around me, my friends and family, just kind of didn't want to see me kill myself. And so I just stopped. I didn't just stop. I had a doctor who I spoke to yesterday, actually, who prescribed Xanax to me. I'd never taken Xanax before, and I started taking Xanax, and that was it. I just quit drinking.
You still take Xanax?
Yes, but a very small amount. Do you know what a bar of Xanax is?
2 milligrams,
okay.
Of course.
All right, well, I used to take 4 bars. That's
so 8 milligrams.
Well, whatever 4 bars.
4 bars. Yeah, that's a lot of milligrams.
Now I'm down to a half a bar, and I take it at night to go to sleep. And it seems to take. I I think also beyond it just feeling, oh, hey, this is the real Michael Biehn. I think that I had a lot of anxiety, Michael. I think that I had a lot of anxiety, but I'm not good at identifying it. I'm like one of those
I think
kids,
it's a weakness, right?
No, I don't think it's a weakness. I just don't. I'm not self introspective. I don't look at myself. How am I feeling today? Oh, I feel this way. Oh, I feel a little bit. I don't realize that I don't realize, that I'm having feelings until all of a sudden, I pick up and start fucking drinking. And then I realize, oh yeah, you were upset or you were, anxious. Anxious is kind of a big thing, and acting, a lot of it is being anxious. And I can go back. I can think of like even going way back to when I did Hill Street Blues at lunchtime, going across the street and having 3 or 4 beers so I could come back and do my job. And I was great on Hill Street Blues. And I've always been good. I had one day my entire life on a show with Brittany Murphy, and I can't think of the name of it, where it was a real train wreck. But I think it was more they took me off the set. And I fought the cops. I ended up in what do they call it, a 5150, like the mental ward for 51 hours, 52 hours.
What happened? You just got too drunk?
I think it had to do with there was alcohol involved, Michael, but there was a lot of stress when I was leaving my second wife and wanting to be with Jennifer. I had children. I had, I was just in a lot of pain. I never want to hurt anybody. My second wife, I was hurting. Jennifer wanted me to shit or get off the, and I was right in that spot where you shouldn't be. There's an old cowboy saying is, if you straddle a barbed wire fence, and that's,
Yeah.
And so I think it was more of a mental breakdown that I had, a mental event.
It's amazing it didn't happen earlier.
Well, it is. And, but that's the one day that, it was the last day of shooting. So it was a Friday. Everybody had their plans to go home. So they had to come back on Tuesday when I got out of the 5250. And one of the requirements of me getting out of whatever they call it, was that I had to go into rehab. And I think that was the last rehab that I was in. But, that's all in the past. And
how do you feel now? Like, how do you feel? Because when I bumped into you in Australia, we were doing a convention together.
Yeah.
And what I noticed, because I'd met you years ago, we had like breakfast with Danielle and Jennifer at some place called something 411 in Studio City.
Yeah,
place.
I remember that place.
But we just had a breakfast, and from the time I saw you there, then to seeing you in Australia in person, I noticed a different person.
Well, here's the thing.
But I noticed someone who now was excited about life, excited about what he was about to do, a new project. And like, it was just like, I was like, oh, wow.
Michael, 12 years ago, I had a devastating stroke.
How long?
12 years ago.
What happened?
I went to bed one night with Jennifer, and I woke up in the middle of the night with a really bad headache. Went in, urinated, went back to bed. Got up that morning. I had a job that I was starting the next day, and I opened up my script to look at my script, and I couldn't read it. It was like Chinese. I couldn't read it. I was like, Jennifer, I can't read this. What do you mean you can't read it? I can't read it. I can't read this. And she said, okay, she knew immediately that something was on. Thank God for Jennifer, because she immediately, called my doctor, drove me to Cedars. I think it was Cedars. And at that time, Michael, I didn't know my children's name. I didn't know I didn't know who the president was. I think it was Obama at the time.
Were you terrified?
No, I was in a kind of a floating thing. But what happened, Michael, is I got like 50% of my memory back pretty quickly, but it's taken till right before COVID that all of my memories come back. When you have a stroke and your brain tears like that, it will heal itself. Your brain will heal itself, but it takes a long time, and it's very, very, very frustrating. So names, places, streets, numbers, being able to navigate. I really did not feel like I was back. And when I act, for instance, I have to act like I've always acted. I listen to you and Michael talk about hearing things on headphones and stuff like that. And, I totally respect that and I get it. But for me, if I can't be the way that I used to be, it's not fulfilling. If somebody's got to feed me lines or something like that, I don't like it. And so 10 years ago, or 12 years ago, that's, I really stopped working. I mean, did I work? Yeah, I worked here and there. But that's when I started doing the Comic-Cons because I have a 19-year-old son now. He was 12 at the time, or not 19 minus 12, whatever that is. And and my son, Dashiell. And so I had bills to pay. And so
you had to work.
I had to work. And I worked on a lot of stuff that they would pay me, quite a bit of money to come in and do like 3 days, or not 3 days, like 1 day or 2 days. Yeah. And then they use my name and stamp it up there and put it up. Oh, Michael Biehn, picture of me with a gun or something on the front of the thing.
Right.
And then, slowly but surely you go down. And I'm out of that now. I did Mandalorian, which was, I didn't have a lot of dialogue in that, but I did The Walking Dead recently. And The Walking Dead, I had about 9 pages. I had about 9 pages that I had to do. And for me, Michael, I don't like to be the person, I think I mentioned this earlier, I don't like to be the person when you're doing a shot, there are a lot of elements involved. There's the DP looking at stuff. There's a camera operator that's got his job. There's a focus puller. There's sound. There's all that kind of stuff. And any one of those elements can fuck up a shot. And it's highly important to me that I don't fuck up a shot by going, sorry, I forgot my line. It's highly important to me.
So you go over these lines hundreds and hundreds of times.
If not thousands. Yeah. And
until you have it like second nature.
Yeah. But it was for a long time, Michael, I couldn't do it. I just couldn't remember anything.
How'd that make you feel? Were you depressed?
No, I was frustrated. I never was, I guess there were times that I've been depressed in my life and laid around for a month or something, but I've always worked out. I've always gone to the gym, and I think that's helped me a lot. But I was very, very frustrated because once a year I would try to pick something up, try to memorize it, like I used to. And I just, I couldn't do it. And so I shied away. And then once my memory started coming back, and once it started coming back to a place where I was in really good shape, confidence, having the confidence as an actor is a very important quality. I think it's one of the most important qualities to be an actor and go like, yeah, well, this is my shit. Like, take it or leave it.
So it took you doing those small roles, doing a couple pages, building it up, building that confidence up to where you can get back to where you once were is what you're.
I am back to where I was before now because I just did, the Walking Dead, and The Walking Dead, like I said, was about 9 pages. And, they did how many shots, so they're doing in my direction, they're doing about 8 shots on me. So I nailed that every time. And then this last summer, I did 2 pieces of, and now, Michael, I just call it content because it's not film, it's not television, it's just content. So anyway, I did one in Thailand, which was a prison fighting movie. It had to do with that. I was in prison and had some children that were trying to get me out. I think it's going to maybe end up on the Paramount. I'm not sure.
Right.
It's called Lock. It was originally called Bangkok Lockdown or Lockup. I think they had to take the Bangkok off because we were shooting it in Thailand, and Thailand, they didn't want, Thailand's pretty nervous about anything this bad. And then I went to Australia, and I shot another movie in Australia, which I was involved in, really come from a kind of a, right from the beginning of helping the filmmakers create the character. Not create the character, but I just helped them a lot. They're first time filmmakers, and I'm very, very good. I don't write scripts, but I'm very good at writing stuff. So, I mean, yeah, I had two. I worked 3 months on one and 2 months on the other one, and during that entire time, I never had to say, sorry, I forgot my line. And that
just builds confidence.
Yeah, now I'm confident. Now I feel like I could,
call Cameron up.
Well, I mean, no, I mean, I feel like I could work with anybody, and it's not, these days it's not about like, I'm going to do this and that's going to make me, people are going to, it's like just having the experience. Would I like to work with Cameron? Yeah, just because I like being around geniuses, Would I like to work with Meryl Streep? Yes, because I like to work with geniuses. Would I like to work with Denzel Washington? Yes, because I work with, great people.
Right.
Would I like to work with Johnny Depp? I'd love to work with Johnny Depp.
Michael Rosenbaum.
I was saving the best for last.
I was waiting when it was coming. Let me ask you, what, because this is awesome. What a great story about, like, it's just like you were essentially drinking yourself to death. You were essentially like lost the confidence, lost who you were.
That wasn't because
the stroke.
The stroke is what
the
did
stroke,
that to me.
But I'm sure there was an accumulation of like a lot of things that probably contributed to that.
Yeah.
But now you're 66. You're in the best shape like you've probably been in a long time. You look confident. You're doing all these things. What is your goal? Do you have like an idea, like your agents? Like, I want to be up for the big stuff now. I want to be. No. Well, how do you approach that? Are you just continue to want to just act and whatever comes to you?
Whatever comes my way. I've never been very good at auditioning, so I usually take stuff that's offered to me. I went from a period of time after I did Terminator until 17 years without auditioning, and I did, I didn't have to audition for Mandalorian. I didn't have to audition for The Walking Dead. I didn't audition for either one of these movies that I did, pieces of content that I did. So I forgot, what was your question?
About like what you want. Like,
yeah, you know what? I don't.
You're content.
I'm very content. I'm content because I know that I've got a career that already, when you're in a movie like just Terminator, Aliens, and Tombstone.
I'd have retired. I'd have been like, I did it. I was a movie star. I'm done.
I thought I was going to retire. And then, Mandalorian came along, and there's just certain people like Jon Favreau that you just don't say no to.
That still want to see you.
Yeah. Can you come in and support Rosario Dawson, who, by the way, is fucking awesome.
She's going to come on the podcast too. Yeah. She's going to, yeah.
Oh, she's awesome.
She's awesome.
Tell her, she knows how I feel about her. And there's just certain people. And then, when I did The Walking Dead, it was Greg Nicotero, who had done all the special effects on Robert Rodriguez's movie, is now the showrunner on that. And so I'm not very good at auditioning, but once I really sink my teeth into something,
let's go.
I feel pretty good and confident.
This is called Shit Talking with Michael Biehn. And by the way, I mean, you're coming on again. This is like, I honestly, you have so many stories and so many things to talk about. I got to bring you back on.
Okay.
You got to say yes.
Oh yes.
Dude, like, this is like.
You haven't heard any, you asked me earlier if I was funny. Well, you haven't heard any.
No, this is just epic. I'm honestly sitting here going, oh shit, I should have a question ready. I don't. I'm listening to you and like going and I'm imagining all the things you're telling me. It's called Shit Talking with Michael Biehn. These are my top tier patrons. Go to patreon.com/inside you, support the podcast. I love you. But these are questions, rapid fire. Stone H, what was it like filming Navy SEALs with Charlie Sheen? Was it a fun movie to star in? Love that movie.
Fucking horrible. I hated it. Because it could have been Top Gun. Charlie was great. Charlie was sober as a church, whatever. Charlie was great. We had a great cast. We had do I get one word or just answer?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, we had a great cast. We had Paxton. We had Rick Rossovich. We had Joanne Wally Kilmer, who was smoking. We had Academy Award-winning DP, and we had a director who didn't
know what the fuck he was doing.
Yeah, and yeah. So that was the worst experience I ever had making a movie, and it you can tell by watching it. You might have liked it, but you're one of the few.
Raj, tell me a TV or movie quote you find yourself repeating the most when people ask you or whatever.
Me?
Yeah. Do you have any quote that people say, hey?
Oh, yeah. Well, come with me if you want to live. Stay frosty. I want your blood. I want your soul. I want them both right now. No, I get a lot of stuff like that.
Jam and Jenny, are you planning on producing more movies with your wife, Jennifer Blanc?
No, you know what? That was during a period of time where I was still suffering my memory, and that was Jennifer. Jennifer was always there for me. She was always able to, if we were doing an interview or something, speak for me. But no, there's no money in it, and it's a lot of hard work, and so
I know.
Yeah, so probably not.
Tell me a story, just a quick story about Bill Paxton that you remember that from working with him, because and how were you close with him, and how did him passing affect you? Well,
Bill and I did a movie called Lords of Discipline together. That's where I met Bill, and Bill is a live wire. Bill is he comes into a room and you know it. A lot of fun, very passionate, knows films well. I had worked at Roger Corman's company with Jim Cameron. Where I did 5 movies with him. So I knew Bill before he met Louise. He met Louise when we were right at the end of Lords of Discipline. And then we went over and did Aliens together. That was the greatest time that I had with Bill. I mean, next time you have me on, I'll tell you, because it's about a 10-minute story, or maybe I could cut it down, but to really do it justice and really to do Bill justice, I'll come back. But he was, he seemed to enjoy life more than other people. He seemed to like eat life, and with a smile, and he was always kind of bigger than life. And as an actor, he got started off that way, and he was so great in Aliens for that's a little bit like Bill Paxton without the coward part, okay?
Right.
That's a little bit like who Bill Paxton was. But throughout the years, he was able to bring that down. And by the time he was working with Billy Bob Thornton and doing his television series for HBO, he was just a really good actor. And his being hired was not based on his personality, but he's an infectious personality who I spent a couple. Yeah, I didn't know him as well before. I saw him on the 25th anniversary of Aliens. And we were talking a little bit, and he started to talk to me about something to do with his heart. And I was listening because I've had open heart surgery. That's another.
He's coming back, Ryan. Don't you worry. Open heart, Bill Paxton stories. He's coming back. Go ahead. He's telling you about his heart.
Yeah, well, he started talking to me about his heart, and I've got Rico Simonini is my cardiologist, one of the best in the country. And I had my heart surgery done by a guy named Bud Frazier, who's more used to doing heart transplant. Mine was a 1-foot putt.
Stent.
I was born with a regurgitating valve or a heart murmur. So I've had it my whole life, but I got to be 52 or 3 or whatever it was. It was right after I had my stroke. No, it was before. I don't know, whatever.
But anyway, he's telling you about his heart.
So he started talking to me about his heart, and somebody pulled me away. So I never had the conversation with him because I would have immediately said to him, you got to talk to my guy, Rico. He's the best in the business. I've had it, and he was aware of that. And I think he probably wanted to talk to me about it. Bill went to Cedars-Sinai and was operated on. And my opinion is that they butchered him. And I think that his family felt that way. They filed a lawsuit against Cedars, which was finally, it was supposed to go to court last December, and they finally settled out of court. It was a very simple surgery, what he was doing, and he had a doctor that
messed it up.
Well, according to Bill's to Bill's family, he made a lot of mistakes, and I had a little bit of inside knowledge on what happened. And here's the thing about it is, we've all got a date with our name on it. And Bill's happened to be that nobody could have enjoyed life more than Bill. Nobody could have had more fun. Nobody could have loved as much as he did. Nobody could have been a better father. He was human, He and I used to get into some trouble together, so he was human. But one of the I kind of took him on as a younger brother because I had worked more at the time. So I felt like I helped him become, from an acting standpoint. He used to go to a acting coach that I first started with named Vincent Chase, and he stayed with Vincent Chase right up until he died. But he didn't need to die, but none of us need to die. And
were you very upset about it? Did it really impact you?
Yeah.
Really hit you?
Yeah. Just because, we're all going to die, but when it happens like that, when it happens because of violence or because of somebody making a mistake or somebody's hubris and thinking, no, I'm going to try it this way. And it makes it more difficult. And, more than anything else, I miss him, I just miss him. And even though we only spoke to each other once or twice a year towards the end of his career, because he was working so much and I was always working. And so, but when we were young, we were really tight. And, he was just a lot of fun to be around. And it was tough to see him, that happen to him,
I'm going to end it on the worst thing ever.
Okay.
Get ready for this.
I thought, you already mentioned Navy SEALs.
You did, fucker.
No, did I? Oh yeah, I did. Yeah.
When Travolta hit you in the balls in Greece, that was you?
Yes.
In Greece, he comes over.
You want to hear the story?
Yes.
Okay.
I had no idea that was you.
Well, here's the deal. I went in, the director's name is Randall Kleiser. And Randall had me in, and I read for him and the producers. I think it was Paramount, went over there about 5 times and read for the role that Lorenzo Lamas played in the movie. You remember Lorenzo Lamas? Yeah. So when Olivia Newton-John and him kind of split up, she goes off with Lorenzo Lamas to make him jealous, and Lorenzo Lamas is the jock sort of thing. So therefore, he tries to do all the sports. And so I read a number of times. I was obviously the number 2 pick for that, and I think that Randall just kind of thought, geez, Michael came in here. He's probably very disappointed. Let's bring him in for a day. They brought me in as an actor. So I got paid as an actor, like $750 back then or whatever. And I came in and I did that scene with John Travolta where he's trying to impress Olivia Newton-John by playing sports, baseball, wrestling, and all this stuff. And I happened to be, I don't know if Randall picked me because I was the guy that he hit in the stomach. There's also another shot in the movie where Kanicki pulls out the frog in the classroom. That shot starts on a girl. in the front row, and it starts panning, and it pans right across me. So I think it's just me, full screen. It's before the scene really starts. I look like I'm about 12, and I was like 19 or something like that. And it pans across me, and then, Kinnicky does something, and then the scene starts. Right. So that was, let's throw this kid a bone because he auditioned well for us so many times.
Let me ask you, lastly, do you still get residuals for Grease?
Yes. I get residual
for everything you've done. Obviously.
Yeah, but over the years, Michael, as you well know, they become smaller and dwindles and dwindles and dwindles. And what's happened now, because I had this stroke and because I started doing the Comic-Cons, now, Michael, the last one I saw you at was in Pittsburgh, I believe.
Yeah.
And dude, I made so much money. Because of Terminator and Aliens and basically it's not work. You just stand there.
You're just hanging out with friends, fans.
And people come up and just tell you how much they
Your
love
line
you.
was
how
endless.
much. Well, yeah, but that's because I did Terminator, Aliens, and Tombstone, and The Abyss, and The Rock, and that's all I do is stand there and have people tell me how much they love me and have me money.
It doesn't suck.
No, it's not work. But I do miss, like I said, yeah. I mean, like. Life is good, and
life is good, man. I love this. I'm not kidding. I want you to come back. There's so many things I want to talk. I mean, I could talk to you. We won't get into it now, but I'm going to talk to you about The Rock and working under Bruckheimer and working for
Jerry Bruckheimer, unbelievable, and Don Simpson, who I knew. Don Simpson. I saw Don Simpson 2 days before he died. So anyway,
if you guys want him back, he's coming back anyway. I love this guy.
Yeah, I'll come back. But I'll come back anytime.
Was this awesome? I mean, honestly, I didn't ever really even look. I've
been around a long time, Michael.
But dude, I love this. Thank you so much for coming on.
It's my pleasure,
back.
man.
You promised me.
I promise. Yeah, anytime.
All right, follow this man. You're on Instagram?
No.
You're not. You don't need that shit. See, real movie stars don't need that shit.
I don't know.
They don't need that shit.
No.
Any cons coming up?
No.
Let me know.
I will let you know. But no. And if I did, Jennifer would know. She's my girl Friday. She takes care of me. We're in love, and I couldn't have done. Girl. I couldn't have come back from the stroke if it hadn't been for her. She supported me the entire time.
She stuck with you, man.
She really did.
This is a lifer.
Wonderful.
And lastly, when the cameras go off and the audio stops, you're going to sign my Aliens poster.
Yeah, it's going to cost you.
All right. Thanks for coming on, man.
All right, man.
Awesome.
My pleasure.
I loved it. I love that. It went long too because it was just like so fun and intense and real. And
old school Hollywood ones are always good.
Yeah,
always informative.
Yeah, but he just he just lets you in on his rough past and what he went through and a lot of things that a lot of people didn't know. And I think a lot of this stuff could go viral because I don't think a lot of people knew about this stuff. And he opened up, I don't think he tells the world about everything, but he felt pretty open with me, right, Michael? You fucker. I love you, buddy. Thanks for coming on. Yeah, that was awesome. And if you didn't get a chance to listen to the beginning of the show, just a reminder to, subscribe to the podcast, write a review. It really helps the podcast. Follow us on our handles at Inside You Podcast on Instagram and Facebook at Inside You Pod on the Twitter. And my new band, Sunspin, has an album out. It's Sunspin. The album's called Never Is What It Is. You can find that everywhere streaming or buy the CD on sunspin.com along with Zooms with the band and all that stuff. And that's about it. Yeah. Why don't we do what we do best? Read the top tier patrons. All right. Go to patreon.com/insideofyou. And become a patron today. I love these guys. Let's see. I feel like I want to read a different way each time, but I don't know. Nancy. What if I use Nancy and then their last name? They gave the initial. I say a word, but not their last name.
Sure, if you can keep that up.
Nancy Delicious, Leah Savvy, Sarah Vixen, Little Lisa, Yukiko, Jill,
Ebullient.
Easy does it. Brian H. Brian, how are you? Nico, pleasant. Robert, brother. Jason,
Worth it.
worth it. Sophie, miraculous. Kristen,
Killer.
Kristen Killer. Raj,
Come on.
Joshua, don't. Jennifer, not now. Stacy, love ya. Jamal, friggin' A. Janelle, best friends.
Oh no.
Mikey. Mike,
Effervescent.
effervescent. Eldon Supremo, 99 more. Santiago, my man. Chad, whoopee. Leanne,
Paradoxical.
Leanne Paradise.
There you go.
Janine, real. Maya, present.
Present.
Maddie, superstar. Belinda, never say never. Dave, how long has this been going on? Sheila, G Money. Brad, Dynamite. Ray, have a great day.
Oh.
Tabitha,
Too much.
Tom, nice.
Man.
Should we continue?
How many more? 99
We
more?
got a lot. We got a lot
right.
more. Liliana, just think of one as I go for the next one. You're going to think of Talia M. I'm going to go
right.
Liliana, A's for Apple. Talia,
Magical.
Betsy, don't stop believing. Chad, Licorice.
Licorice.
Dan, neat. Big Stevie W. Angel, my beautiful. Rhiannon C.
Cool.
Rhiannon Cool. Corey Crystal. Dev Nexon. Michelle Acrobatical. Jeremy Chippendale.
Okay.
Brandy D. Brandy.
Daredevil.
Okay. Camille Sweet. Joni
Mitchell.
Joni Baby.
Wow.
Joey Mitchell. Joey Mitchell.
All right.
Joey. Eugene and Leah. Corey. Heather Locklear. Jake Busey. Megan
Malali.
T. Megan Thoughtful. Angela
Bassett. Did the thing.
Free.
Oh.
Mel Sly. Orlando C. Orlando
City.
City.
Like the soccer
Caroline.
team. Huh?
Caroline R. Caroline Rocks.
Mm.
Christine Scores. Eric Hammer. Shane Rules. Emma Right On. Andrew, my brother. Zatoichi 77. Andrew, nicely done, my friend. Oracle, Karina, and Karina. Notekeeper. Amanda.
I don't know.
Reigns.
All right.
Jen Bright. Kevin Elixir. Stephanie K. Stephanie Karate. Jor L. All right, I've got a few left and then we'll never do this again. Billy Stupendous. Jammin J. Jammin
Juice.
Jammin Jupiter. Leanne Juice. Luna Ray. Cindy Everly. Mike, forget about it. Stone Henge. Miss Salami. Brian Lover. Katie Be Real, Aaron Roars, Kendall Loves, House of Jarrell, Meredith Irresistible, Charlene C. Crafty, and Kara Courageous.
Right.
That's it. We did it. We did it. We got through it. We you can't just do half of them and the other people know. We did it. It's off the cuff. We love you. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for listening to Michael Biehn. You rock. And thank you for all the top tiers and all the love and the following. And please continue to do so and support the podcast. It means the world to me. From the Hollywood Hills in California, I'm Michael Rosenbaum.
I'm Ryan Diaz. I'm also here.
Yes, you are. You're always here. A little wave to the camera. We love you. Be good to yourself.